Check 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need. Get over the fear and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Today is podcast number 193. We have a scenario question sent in, and it looks like it's going to be a fun one. So I'm going to enjoy this. Hopefully you guys will too. And remember, if you have a question, a scenario question, or just a question in general, send it to support@michaelquarles.com. One more time, support@michaelquarles.com. Hope you guys are enjoying receiving the 3-page contract I use when you submit to download. I also included in that the goal worksheets and my market analysis spreadsheet. And that's kind of a cool little thing. What we did is we took the 114 cities that we market to and we want to buy in. We looked at their population base, and then we went to Trulia and looked at the graphs. And for me, the reason that those graphs are important, and I know it's way off topic and it's just not the scenario question, I apologize. But the reason those graphs are important to me is I want to be in a market, if I could, where it hasn't completely rebounded from the 2008 drop in prices. So if an area, let's say, for instance, the area in 2007, 2008 was at 400 grand, and right now the market's at 300 grand, I like that because I know that there's still some room to play that hasn't completely rebounded. On the flip side of that, if an area in 2007, 2008 was, 250 grand at the top, and right now it's at 300 grand, I may still like the city, but I don't like it as much. So I may not attribute as much marketing to that area because I know the growth rate has already exceeded what it was. And so those graphs are really important. I think when we look at median, and one of the things that you guys can really find out and look at, and I think for me it's exciting because I understand numbers, but take a look at the one-bedroom market right now. The one-bedroom market is doing pretty good. Now, I'm not saying go out there and buy a bunch of one-bedroom houses, but they're increasing in value from a percentage base better and greater than the 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and 4-bedroom market. And so, although I don't intentionally market to them, when I find one, I know I have some added value there because they are increasing in value tremendously. And there's reasons for that, but we'll go into that on a different podcast if someone wants to know. But today's scenario question, here we go. I know you're not a lawyer, but I'm sure you can point me in the right direction. I found a house owned by a lady who passed away several years ago. She was married for about 1 month, and her parents were told the property was theirs and not the 1-month husband. They want to sell it and it will be worth the legwork. The house is still in deceased daughter's name. The 1-month husband lives there rent-free. Should I get the parents to sign the purchase and sales agreement before finding the legal aspect of this, or should I find out what needs to be done first by talking to an attorney? The parents don't care what happens to the occupant, so I have some flexibility there, but how should I address the occupant? Oh my goodness. That is a scenario question. Absolutely. First off, if you want to get into probate properties, I would go and visit with a couple probate attorneys, pay a fee to chat with them for an hour each, and have them educate you on the process of these kinds of things. It may be, in fact, you may want to hire one of them on a retainer, so $750, plop it down so you have the right to call these folks anytime you run across a situation like this.
Thanks for listening. We'll be right back. Are you running out of leads? It's time you tried Yellow Letters at yellowletters.com. Get motivated seller leads through Yellow Letters, postcards, zip letters, typed professional letters, greeting cards, door hangers, and business cards. Yellow Letters is a full-service marketing company created with your success in mind. Get the personal attention you need to get your direct mail campaign started and get in touch at yellowletters.com.
And we are back in 3, 2, 1.
Now, I am not an attorney, and this is beyond my understanding of probate. Because basically what we have is a couple who had been married a month. The wife died, and the mother and the father of the wife want to sell the property. The husband's living in the property. Does the husband have any rights to that property according to probate? Now, of course, it also depends on what state they're in as well, probably. So I would absolutely call a probate attorney before I got in the middle of this thing. But here's the real question, and I've got to ask it. I don't know who sent me in this question, so I hope I don't make someone feel bad. But I've got to ask it. Why are we fooling around with this kind of stuff? It's not our core competency. Our core competency is putting pieces of mail in the mail or buying pay-per-click advertising, answering the phone from people that are having a willingness and an ability. So willingness and an ability. So they're motivated and they can, in fact, sell something to sell us a house. It is not to turn over rocks looking for something. Let another investor do that. Let somebody else who wants to spend the amount of energy and time that you're going to spend on this thing do all that. Go find the real deal. Market for the real deal. And even if this is the only opportunity you have, the only thing that this is going to do for you, in my opinion, is educate you on how to buy these kinds of things. But do you really want to be educated there? I don't know. I wouldn't. I would want to do more marketing. The $750 retainer that I would pay the attorney to have a probate attorney on retainer, because there is advantages to that, and I've done that in my past. But in a market like what we're in today, I wouldn't even do it. But the $750 that you'd put down, put it into marketing. The time that you would spend interviewing the attorneys on figuring out how to do this, cold call. Go do some greeting. Go, do something. Yesterday, I kind of challenged people to join a club. Go join a club. I did, by the way. I did. I took my own advice yesterday. When I asked everybody else what could they do to better themselves as a real estate investor today, and that was to go join a club. I went and joined a club yesterday. So I joined the country club. They wanted a lot of money to be a country club member. I thought it was absurd. But anyway, I did that because if I say you should, I also believe I should too. So that's what I would do. I wouldn't play around with it. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. If you want to do something, then why don't you go educate yourself on who has the legal rights to the property. Talk to that person and see if you can do a deal, I guess. If you want to do something. You can't put it under contract because she's dead. All right? So anything that you would put under contract, any instrument that you'd use wouldn't be binding until a judge says who owns the property. Again, I'm going to fall back to not even caring about it. Now, I did do a probate once. If we want to talk about probate in this kind of a situation where there was a deceased father, 4 children, new wife, property. And the wife and the children didn't necessarily agree on, what was better, apples and oranges. And so there was this little feud, and they wanted to sell the property. And of course, the wife had the right to live there. The children thought they had the right to own it. My probate attorney that was under retainer got in the middle of it. I told the seller that any costs that there would be, because I think the wife had the opportunity there, any costs that she would incur, I would subtract it from the purchase price if, in fact, I did buy it. I already knew from the probate attorney what I could or could not do. It worked out that the 4 children had 50% ownership of the property, and she had 50% ownership of the property. And they elected, they being the children and the lady, elected to go ahead and sell the property, be done with each other, be on their way, get whatever coin they could get from their relative leaving. And so we solved it. Would I do that today? No. Do I think that's the situation you're in? Yes. If the lady does not have any children, I think it's probably the husband's. But I am not an attorney, so what do I know? There maybe the month isn't long enough for that to happen, but again, I wouldn't do anything with it. It was a short podcast today. I apologize, everybody, but that was a quick answer. It may not have been the answer someone wanted to hear, but I have been known to give my opinion, and I hope that's what you guys want when you ask me questions. So until next time, you guys have a blast. You make some money, buy some houses, become that guerrilla investor in your marketplace. Let people know that you, in fact, do buy houses. Stop doing the day job, and become so successful that you can help people too. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.